back to the quantum room. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. This video will be the first update for our Camponotus Modoc colony. As warmer temperatures have finally arrived, it's time to bring them out of Diapause. I want to start by saying I had these guys labeled as Pennsylvanias because that's what I thought they were, as I came from Texas to Cali, but I found out later on after I caught them that there's a western black carpenter ant being Camponotus Modoc and an eastern black carpenter ant being Pennsylvanias, so I don't want to cause any confusion with that. With that said, let's get into the update. I diapause this colony from the beginning of November to the beginning of March. Here in California, those are the coldest months with temperatures where I live getting as low as 45 degrees. I store them outside in a sealed container so no other insects can invade the colony, and I basically just leave them the rest there. I only check on them 2 to 3 times throughout Diapause as there's not much to see, basically just making sure they're still alive. Now that March is here and daytime temperatures are starting to hit the 70s, the ants were warming up on their own before I brought them back inside the house. You can see they're pretty active already. Most of the colony is still clumped up, so the first thing I wanted to do was get them into a new test tube and let them completely come out of Diapause. For that, I have this container outworld I made with just basic sand and grout, and pretty much I just placed the old test tube inside the container, exposing it to light, and put a foil cover over the new test tube. I also gave them a little bit of purple dyed honey water and a chopped dubia, and basically at this point we let the magic happen. They won't stay in this container, I'm just using it to get the colony into the new tube. At night, it still gets pretty cold, so I keep them inside the house with the rest of the colonies to allow them to fully come out of their diapause. You don't want to give them a heat right away because you want them to acclimate to the increase in temperatures. So I place them at room temperature away from the heating cables until I see that the colony has fully left their diapause state. Here the ants left the tube with the queen and were exploring the new tube, making sure it's safe while stationing in the outworld. They all gathered in a corner around the queen, serving as a protective barrier for her before making their move into the new test tube. You can observe her movement is a little bit slower than the workers because it takes longer for her to come out of diapause due to her larger size. I had school in the morning, so I went to bed, but checking on them a few days later, the queen and most of the colony was in the tube, and the workers outside were foraging. I had changed the honey water and gave them some fruit flies, and it seemed as they were out of diapause. But just to be sure, I gave them a little bit more time. I didn't remove them from the outworld just yet or put them on heat. A good sign that they were out of diapause is the number of workers they have outside the nest foraging and catching food to bring home to the queen, along with honey water. If they were foraging in very small numbers and they weren't too interested in the flies, that would be a good sign that they aren't ready to come out of diapause just yet. Later on, I caught the ants while everyone was in the tube and plugged them all back in the tube. I offered them a chopped dubia, and here at this point, the colony was fully out of diapause. The foraging workers were processing the protein, while the back workers protected the brood and the queen. Another good indication that the colony is out of diapause will be the appearance of the brood pile. As the queen starts to move over and you get a little peek at the brood pile under her, you can see the brood has turned into a cloudy white color that they normally are. If you compare this with the first clip of the video, the brood in that clip were a dull yellowish tan color. This change in brood appearance can be an indication that the colony wants to enter diapause when the late months of the year approach. The colony is large enough to be left in that outworld setup, but where I keep the ants at, I don't have space for it, so I'll keep them in a tube until I'm able to get them a formicarium. As currently they have about 40 to 50 workers, I'm thinking of getting them a nest that they will be able to grow into and be inside of for a while. Until then, I'll keep them in a tube until I have the new nest, or if feedings get too hard and they force me to put them in the outworld setup. But currently, they are in the tube on heat with the rest of the colonies of the quantum realm. Everything said, that will be all for this update. I hope you guys enjoyed it. The next update will be coming out soon for one of my CAO2 queens, as well as an anting vlog. Stay tuned, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you on the next one.